Into okay, I be tired. Into okay, I be tired. Into okay, I be tired. Girls up there with his tie. Into okay, I be tired. Into okay, I be tired. Into okay, I be tired. Girls up there with his tie. Into okay, I be tired. Into okay, I be tired.
I'm tired.
Into okay, I be tired. Into okay, I be tired.
That's right.
Into okay, I be tired. Into okay, I be tired.
I'm tired.
Into okay, I be tired. Into okay, I be tired.
That's right.
Memory got different kinds. Feeling sensory in the crime. Short-term memory part-time. Long-term memory all the time. Memory bias right now. Total of 6, that'd be right. What you saying? Total of 6, that'd be right. Egocentric, one of a kind. Another hindsight with the climb. Problem with memory is that it dies. Interference leaving us to cry. Misremembering things in disguise. Emotional feelings make us cry. Primary emotion is why. Distorts our perception all the time. Into okay, I be tired. Into okay, I be tired. Into okay, I be tired. Birds up there with his time. Into okay, I be tired. Into okay, I be tired. Into okay, I be tired. Birds up there with his time. Into okay, I be tired. Into okay, I be tired.
I'm tired.
Into okay, I be tired. Into okay, I be tired.
That's right.
Into okay, I be tired. Into okay, I be tired.
I'm tired.
Into okay, I be tired. Into okay, I be tired.
That's right.
Languages have rules, no petty. Must be intended, no lessee. Must be rule governing, lightning. Must be open-ended, not tightening. Language problems are pretty dicey. Translations are the one that shines. Another meaning don't abide. Third one, label stereotypes. Fourth, understanding things differently. My perception's different from SETI's. Empiricism based on senses. Common sense, realism, literary. Got 5 senses, don't attack me. Sight, touch, smell, hear, and taste. We think sketchy stuff's in the alley. Blame stuff on the Illuminati. Into okay, I be tired. Into okay, I be tired. Into okay, I be tired. Girls up there with this time. Into okay, I be tired. Into okay, I be tired. Into okay, I be tired. Girls up there with this time. Into okay, I be tired. Into okay, I be tired.
I'm tired.
Into okay, I be tired. Into okay, I be tired.
That's right.
Into okay, I be tired. Into okay, I be tired.
I'm tired.
Into okay, I be tired. Into okay, I be tired.
That's right. Let's walk faith this time. Trust our game is a fun. There are different elements so far. Got a model and a goodbye. Everything just be on the one. In the end, on the run. Burn up a run. But when we can run.
Wait, faith reason 3, which would be better, we'll see. Divine sense theory, rational faith theory, theism, faith and seeking, separate domains, EQE. Facts. Reasoning is bougie, 3 different types of blooming. Inductive reasoning is so fly. Deductive, not doing time. Informal's everything right. Oh, yeah, fallacies. Some ad hominem and circular reasoning. Law 1, law of identity, and law of non-contradicting or excluding. Good generalizations from the archives. No exception and variety. Coherence and subject area in my eyes. But do we live life as a lie? Into okay, I be tired. Into okay, I be tired. Into okay, I be tired. Birds up there with this time. Into okay, I be tired. Into okay, I be tired. Into okay, I be tired. Birds up there with this time. Into okay, I be tired. Into okay, I be tired.
I'm tired.
Into okay, I be tired. Into okay, I be tired.
That's right.
Into okay, I be tired. Into okay, I be tired.
I'm tired.
Into okay, I be tired. Into okay, I be tired.
That's right.
So I added cognitive, emotional, and ethical by because I couldn't come up with the word that rhymed for the other word, so I used by. And Thomas looks like Joanna By. When I said, into okay, I'd be tired. Into okay, I'd be tired. Into okay, I'd be tired. Mr. Grit's up there with his tie. I added this because I take 0 hour TOK. It's very tiring because it's in the morning at 6:50 a.m. And Mr. Gritz always wears a tie except for sometimes. When I said memory got different kinds, feeling sensory ain't a crime. Short-term memory, part time. Long-term memory all the time. Memory bias right now. Total of 6 that be right. I added this because there are 3 different types of memory: sensory, short-term, and long-term. In long-term or in sensory memory, it's basically just the part of memory that takes and weeds out information from the senses that we use to pick it up. And for short-term memory, it's just like memory that we take in for pieces and it lasts for 30 seconds. And long-term memory is the same thing, but it lasts for 30 seconds to forever. And memory bias also states that we are biased towards things that steer our memory. And the biases are egocentric, narrative, emotional, vividness, hindsight, and source. Now I added a problem with memories that it dies. Interference, leaving us to cry. Misremembering things in disguise. Emotional feelings make us cry. Primary emotion is why. Distorts our perception all the time. So I wrote this because I believe we have a problem with our memory because it dies. And basically when I said that, I was talking about decay, which is a problem with memory. And interference is another one. And decay is basically when our memory just leaves our brain. It goes like bye-bye, you know? And interference is like basically when we like learn something new and it interferes with or when we learn something but it's like interfered by like other different memories. And misremembering is another way that that's a problem, and also flashbulb memories. And I also later then switched up to some emotion walk, which is annoying. And I said that emotion makes us cry because of the primary emotions. This is because of sadness. And the 6 primary emotions are happiness, sadness, fear, anger, surprise, and disgust. And our perceptions are also distorted because our emotions guide them. And I added language problems are pretty dicey. Translations are the one that shines. Another meaning don't abide. The one label stereotypes. For understanding things differently. My perceptions different from SETI's. Empiricism based on senses. Common sense, realism, literary. I added this because language problems are like include translations, which make us like lose the authenticity of the original text. And this can also change the meaning of the entire phrase overall. So like in Mandarin, if you say like, I can't believe it's not butter, in English it might be like, butter I like so much. You know, another problem is meaning. And basically this states that we have a lot of like issues with translation, and there's labels and stereotypes which state that the language gives us the ability to label things. And then finally there's interpretation, and this states that the people view things like differently. And then I switched up and talked about perception and talked about one of the types of perception, which was empiricism, which is all knowledge is ultimately based on sense perception. And another one that I talked about was common sense realism, which is the belief that the world is generally how we perceive it. Cool. Hold on.